Clinical trials. They don't always provide the answers to the questions you're asking. What is perceived as best practice is to prescribe medication to an individual based on the results of a trial carried out on a test population. But clinical trials are often carried out using a group of people with similar characteristics, testing the effects of a single medication on a single disease. But the thing is, real life is a lot more complicated. People are diverse. Some may have more than one disease or condition and be taking more than one type of medicine. And when the drugs they are taking interact with one another, it may change their effects.
ACE inhibitors, an effective blood pressure medication, cause coughing in about 20% of cases and aren't good for teachers, for example. Indeed, there are blood pressure drugs that can have different effects on those with kidney disease, and patients with mood disorders may not take their medication in the same way as heavily monitored patients in trials.
Different combinations, different factors, different effects. The bottom line is what works for one person doesn't always work for another, especially when clinical trials are carried out on generic, clean test populations. So is there a more insightful way to answer clinical questions to help us decide which drugs are best for which individuals? Of course, we can look at the sets of data automatically collected in the UK by the GP registry, but that data is, well, complicated, and we can't always get it.
A Canadian study found that people with high blood pressure often have as many as 10 other conditions.
Here's where EBM Plus comes in. By using the best quality evidence, looking at the mechanisms of how a drug works as well as the results of trials, we can make better clinical decisions.
If a patient has high blood pressure and kidney disease, some drugs will be given at lower dose because the kidneys excrete them more slowly.
Trials and mechanisms. Together they help us make better choices for our patients. EBM Plus. Improving the way in which evidence-based medicine handles evidence of mechanisms. Visit ebmplus.org to find out more.